All right. Let's go ahead and get started. So I'm so excited you guys are all here. We're going to be doing this mocktail making class as a way to kind of kick off dry January. Whether or not everyone is doing that or some version of dry January, it's a great way to kind of detox after the holidays in case you had a little bit too much fun. I'm your host, Jillian. You may or may not already know me. I'm a health and wellness coach, and I help busy professionals get into a healthier routine by making some really doable changes to their food, movement, and mindset so that they can, feel really good and be able to look in the mirror and say, damn, I look good. Because don't we all want to be able to say that? So one way to look and feel your best inside and out is cutting back on alcohol and giving your body a little bit of a chance to detox a little bit. And so once you give up alcohol, though, you might be wondering, what the heck do I drink now? I was just talking about this with Lauren the other day. So sometimes, we may go to a restaurant or we feel a little weird saying we're not drinking. Maybe you feel like a lemonade is just not special enough, or you're tired of ordering or making for yourself at home just a club soda and lime. It gets kind of boring. So we're going to do some things that are a little bit more exciting and a little more fun to drink so that you'll have a chance to skip some alcohol this month and feel better. So we're going to make 3 fresh alcohol-free mocktails that you can enjoy instead today. So we'll go ahead and get started. So I'm going to text you, just in case you don't already have in front of you, the ingredients and tools list, which you should have already gotten in the email. That's just an overview of what to have in front of you to make it easy. But I just put that in the chat if you want to have that. And then I'm also going to drop the recipe handout. So this will have the full recipe. We're going to do each step by step together, so you don't have to watch it too closely, but you'll have that for future reference. Hi, those who just joined. So glad you're here. So yeah, I'm just putting into the chat a recipe handout. So you can go ahead and download that. That's what we're going to be making today. And we'll go through the steps, like I said. So just go ahead and give me a thumbs up when you have your handouts and tools and things in front of you. It's okay if you need a minute. Ready to go, Ashley? I have mine too. Sometimes for stress relief, though, I'll just do it by hand, but this makes it a lot easier. But think of it as your stress ball when you're squeezing all these lines today. The workout. All right. So also one quick note, if your view, so I have 2 cameras going on. One's going to have a little bit more of a close up so you can see like what I'm chopping or whatever, and you'll have that. So if you want to have the view on gallery mode, you can just go in the top right corner of Zoom where it says view, and you can click on gallery. That way you can see everything that I am doing. All right. And so go ahead and get a cutting board. I may not have put that in front, but you're going to need a cutting board and a knife to slice up this citrus. So go ahead and start with that. The one thing I did not get out. So what we're going to do first, we're going to quickly get started with 2 of the ingredients that have some cooking involved. It's not that complicated. Oh, we have one more person entering the room. Hi, Sandra. Welcome. We're just going to get started with 2 of the ingredients that we are cooking first. So we're first going to do a botanical liqueur, I'm calling it. It is not alcoholic, obviously, but it's going to have some citrus peels in it and some other interesting flavors to kind of mimic like a bitter kind of a taste. And then we're also going to do a honey simple syrup. So we're going to get started with those first. So you'll need 2 medium saucepans. So I've got that started over here. Hopefully you can see. So in one saucepan, we're going to start with the botanical liqueur. So you're going to put 3 cups of water into your saucepan, along with some peels of citrus, and we're going to chop those up. So get the water started, 3 cups on about high heat, because you're going to bring it up to a boil, and then you're going to simmer it for like 15 minutes. All right. So while that water gets in the pot, we're going to put some yummy things in it. So this is where you're going to start out with the citrus. So we are going to need the peel of 1 whole grapefruit, 1 whole lemon, and 1 whole orange. So let's get started with that. So you got your grapefruit, your orange, and your lemon.
How much water are we boiling?
It's about 3 cups or so. It's going to reduce down by about half.
Okay.
And let's see. I have my computer propped up on a box. We're super legit over here. So you're going to see the prettier area over here with the citrus. All right. So can you see how I'm chopping this? So you just want to get the peel. So I'm creating a flat side to kind of chop around, and you're just going to go all the way around the peel and try to get more of just the orange part rather than the pith. So the pith is that white part of the fruit, and the more pith that you have, the more bitter it's going to be. So you may not want it to be like terribly bitter. So try and get as much of the zest part as possible. And this does not need to be perfect. So just going to do this with your grapefruit, your lemon, and your orange. You got all these pieces of zest here. And go ahead and dump that in your water and do the same with the lemon and the orange. So this is actually very good for you to do lemon and citrus peel like this. Super cleansing, very detoxing. Has a lot of vitamin C. I think the peel is even better for you than the juice, actually. So how's everybody doing? How many people are actually chopping right now?
So wait, we should get like most of the white part as much as we can away.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't need to be perfect. If you have a lot of white, it's fine. I think that the bitterness of it is actually kind of nice, because sometimes you have so much sweetness in these other fruit juices and things that you're adding. So the bitterness is a nice contrast to that. So it's fine if there is white. I wouldn't just, I would not put like a terrible amount of it. It might be a little too bitter. That makes sense.
And what if I used a rasp or a zester instead of slicing off the peel?
You could. The only issue will be when you go to strain all of it, those are going to be really teeny little pieces. So you may get some zest in the drink, which isn't like a huge deal. And if you use a fine mesh sieve, you could do that as well. I just feel like this is a little quicker because I just chop it and throw it in the pot. So whatever floats your boat, that'll work. And save the inside of the fruit, because you may use some of these for the drinks as well. So don't throw that away. And then for what we don't end up using for juice, you can have it as a snack later. A nice little healthy snack. So got the rest of my peels here. Just going to go ahead and show you. So right now we've got all of the grapefruit, the lemon, and the orange in there. Oh yeah, a salad to have with your drink. Like that. All right, so now that we've got the peel in there, and if you're a little behind, it's totally fine. We're gonna put some ginger. So about an inch or so piece of ginger. and 2 sprigs of fresh rosemary. So this is going to give it kind of that like herby note. I love rosemary in drinks. It is so aromatic and it's also really good for you. And it adds another depth of flavor that's not just sugar. So that goes into the pot along with the ginger. And with the ginger, you don't need to peel it. We're going to be straining this in the end to just have the liquid. So make your life easy and just chop it up in a few pieces and dump it in the pot with the rest. Alrighty. And the last thing we're going to put in there, which is a little different, you may or may not have been able to find this at the grocery store, it's fine if you didn't, is caraway seeds. So caraway seeds, they kind of have a little bit of like an anise, kind of slight licorice flavor. If you hate licorice, like with a passion, you can leave it out. But the idea is to kind of give it some depth of flavor, some other kind of citrusy kind of notes. And this isn't going to taste like gin by any means, but it's kind of mimicking some of the flavors that you might find in certain types of gins. Caraway seeds is one of those flavors. So it's just giving this liqueur something more interesting, you know? So we've got 3 teaspoons of whole caraway seeds that you can dump in the pot. Now I'm just gonna eyeball it. So this is what we've got. So once you've got it all in your pot, just kind of give it a stir. Make sure your heat is set to high. And you're going to want to bring this up to a boil. And then we're going to simmer it for 15 minutes. So while that gets going, we're going to make the rosemary honey simple syrup. So simple syrup is basically just water and sugar. Usually it is a 1-to-1 kind of a ratio that you can use to sweeten your drinks. But we're going to make it a little bit better for you by using honey. So what we're going to do is do 1 cup of water, half a cup of honey, and 2 to 3 sprigs of rosemary, depending on how big they are and how much you like the taste of rosemary. So that's going to go into this other pot. So just go ahead and pour all of those things into the pot over, I would say, medium-high heat. Which I'm going to do in this pot right here. So we've got about, I'm going to be daring today and not measure. Oh, dang. It's been a little chilly here in Los Angeles and my honey is stuck to the top. That never happens here. It's always warm. So if your honey does seize, what you can also do, it's totally normal. It does not mean that it's gone bad. You can always run it under some hot water or leave it in a bowl of hot water to kind of loosen it up and get it moving again. Starting to move on its own. But honey actually does not go bad. I want to say ever. If not, it's a lot of years. It is what's the word? Antibacterial, I think is the word, antimicrobial. So it can resist bacteria. It stays for a very long time and it's very good for you. It's also really good for allergies. If you have a lot of allergies, incorporating some local honey into your diet can help with that as well. All right, how are we all doing? Too fast, too slow? How's everyone coming along? Oh, and also, I don't know if you heard me in the beginning, feel free to take yourself off mute, chime in. This is not super civilized. We're here to just have fun and do whatever, so don't worry. All right, guys, I think I got the honey to come out. Maybe.
So for the syrup, where it's on high heat or medium?
You can do like medium high. So what you want to do is just get it to the point where it's starting to simmer. And then you can turn it down to a medium and just keep it at a low simmer.
Okay.
I just put it on high because I'm impatient and I want it to start boiling as fast as possible.
And then for the peel, like if it's boiling, we put that down to low as well?
Yeah, so go ahead and put that on medium low. You just want it to be a very slight bubble. So you still want it to be simmering away, but not like a rolling boil like mine is right now. So yeah, yours is probably coming to a boil because mine has been for a couple minutes. So I'm going to turn it down to medium. And this is just going to allow the water to get infused with all these different flavors. So, and then we've got a very small amount of honey because it's not coming out. We have plan B.
And if your honey's in a glass jar, you can also microwave it to loosen it up.
Yes, which I feel like I might have to do here in a minute, but. There we go.
That's why Gail moved all our honey from the plastic ones into a glass jar.
She's smart. I have a cute little glass jar, but it's not exactly a half cup, but I think we're gonna have to dig into this today. Make it work. So for simple syrup, I mean, it's fine if you don't have that exact ratio. It's really just dependent on your level of sweetness that you want for your drinks. So obviously, if you put less honey in it and you like it to be a little sweeter, you might just have to adjust how much simple syrup you add to a recipe. All right. So in your simple syrup, go ahead and throw in a couple sprigs of rosemary. I think I have a little miniature guy in there. So that's what it's going to look like. You're just going to wait for this to come up to a simmer as well. So how are we doing so far? Good.
Do we keep the heat on the simple syrup?
Yeah, so keep the heat up on medium high until it gets to a simmer, and then you can put that on medium low as well. You just want to kind of raise the heat up to a boil and then bring it down to a simmer for both so that they can simmer for about 15 minutes or so. And I'm going to set a timer so that we don't forget about it. So that's just going to boil away for a little bit. So while that kind of comes up to heat and simmers, do you guys want to make a nice little simple drink that you can probably have in your hand in the next 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, this is one of my favorites. So it's a little bit spicy. If you don't like spice, I highly suggest you just try it, but maybe adjust how much of the jalapeno goes in there. So what you're going to do is you're going to start with a couple slices of jalapeno with 3 ounces of canned pineapple juice. So I'm going to use a mason jar for this glass. So we've got their mason jar here. Go ahead. Do this so that you can see. We've got pineapple juice. I just bought a little can of it, fresh. It's always better. You don't want to have the syrup with a bunch of added sugar. That's not going to be as tasty or obviously as good for you. And you have a little measuring cup. Use something to measure about 3 ounces or so. Where's the ounces? All right, so you can do this directly into your glass. So we've got 3 ounces of pineapple juice. And then you're going to take your jalapeno. This is where the spice comes in. If you like a lot of spice, you can do like 3 slices of it and leave all the seeds in. If you don't love spice, you can put maybe 1 slice and take out the seeds and the membrane, because that's where the spice really lies. I'm going to do a couple of slices. And don't do what I've done before where you cut into a jalapeno and the juice squirts you in the eye. It will hurt for forever. So just be careful when you're cutting into these. I think about it every time. So
This.
be very careful. All right. So got our drink with the jalapeno in it. And we're just going to take the end of your wooden spoon or whatever you've got that is similar, and you're just going to muddle it, which just means to release the oils from it into the drink. Just kind of squish it until you hear it kind of crunching in there. This is what's going to make it a little zesty and spicy, but not too spicy. We're not like, you know,
Do we
trying to
put
set our mouth
ice
on
in
fire.
this? Do we put ice in this?
Not yet. So first do the muddling, because if you put ice in first, it's going to be very difficult to muddle.
Sure.
All right. So once you've got that, you can go ahead now and add some ice. Got my little bucket of ice here. Really? Got some ice, and then you're gonna just go ahead and top it off with that mango kombucha. So I like this mango synergy raw kombucha. So I'm sometimes on the fence about kombucha. Sometimes they can add a whole lot of extra sugar and it can hurt your stomach, and that's not very good for you. This one is mainly just tea, cultures, and some fruit juices. So the simpler, the better. That's generally a good rule of thumb when it comes to your food. So just go ahead. And I've been making the mistake when I've been doing this recipe that I shake this without even thinking about it. Don't do that, because
Yes, I just did that, Jillian.
I told you too late. It is basically carbonated and it will fly everywhere. So don't shake it.
As you were saying, don't shake it. I literally just finished shaking.
Yeah.
If you do that,
I hope you didn't get it all over you.
very slow, or else, yes, I learned the hard way that word of warning.
Open it over the sink.
Yeah. I learned to do a few things over the sink when I was practicing these recipes. So I will try to tell you ahead of time this time where those warnings are. All right. So we've got our ice. We've got our kombucha. I have a cute straw.
Tasty.
You have a fun little straw. And then if you like, you can go ahead and garnish it with a lime wedge on the side of it. So do you guys know how to do a garnish? It's pretty simple.
Here.
So I just go ahead and kind of slice into the fruit and get a nice wheel. Ooh, that's not a nice wheel. Let's try this. I need to sharpen my knives. Kind of cut it in half. And then in order to put it on the edge of the glass, you just want to do a little slit in the middle here. So there you go. And then I like to garnish it with an extra slice of jalapeno, just kind of in the top of the drink. So that's another tip. So here you go. Can everyone see what that looks like? It's kind of pretty. That's another tip with drinking mocktails. Sometimes we just want to have like something that is a little bit more special than, like I said, club soda with lime or just a glass of water, whatever it is. We want to have that like transition period into the evening. So sometimes it just means making our drink a little bit more special. So you can add fun little garnishes, little lime wedge, citrus wedge of whatever you like, fun little colorful paper straws. I also love a good reusable straw. Try to be as eco-friendly as possible. But yeah, just make it special, make it feel like it's something that you put a little bit of effort into, and then you're going to enjoy drinking it more. When you can't be pouring a glass of wine per se. So what do you guys think? Are you into spice or not?
Yes, I like the jalapeno.
It's a good touch, isn't it?
That one is fun.
All right.
So how long do we cook the simple syrup? It's simmering still.
Yeah, so we're gonna do each for about 15 or so minutes. It's just giving it a little bit more time to kind of get the flavor infused in there, and then we're gonna chill it, and we're gonna make that cocktail at the end. So, does anyone have any questions so far?
No, but this is delicious.
Good.
Is the
Yes,
straw-
Lauren asked if it's a substitute for pineapple juice.
Oh, sorry, I'm not checking the chat. Substitute for pineapple juice. Yeah, so are you allergic to pineapple or something like that, or just preference?
It's one of two things that give me canker sores.
Oh, well, we
I know,
don't have
right?
that.
I love pineapple juice. I love pineapple. But
Oh,
it
that'd
doesn't
be
love me.
better.
I know.
Well, with this one, it's not a super specific recipe, so you could definitely use lime juice. If you wanted to just do, you could even keep it really, really simple because you've already got lime going on the side here. You could do lime juice, like maybe 2 ounces so that it's not too sour, along with the kombucha. And you can also do this with all sorts of different flavors. Obviously, you don't need to use mango kombucha. To be honest, I did it because I liked the yellow color. That's why it's making an appearance tonight.
Okay.
And I like mango. So go ahead and put whatever flavor.
Lauren, my son mentioned that the other day. There's an enzyme in pineapple.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a fount of fascinating information. It just came out of nowhere somewhere.
All right.
I'm realizing the straw is important to not swallow a whole jalapeno.
Maybe I shouldn't have put that as optional. That should have been like a mandatory thing, apparently, huh?
Yes, safety warning.
As long as it doesn't fall in your eyeball. We don't want that. That would be very bad. I can attest. All right. So do you guys want to move on to the next drink? We'll clear the decks here a little bit. So this liqueur, I think, is almost done. I think it's been going for a little while. We'll give it a couple more minutes. So we might have to pause in the middle of making this cocktail so we can get it in the fridge. But we're going to move over to one of my favorites, the Pink Paloma Cloud. So this is obviously a play on the classic Paloma, which traditionally is made with tequila. We're not going to use tequila today, obviously. But we're going to make it a little bit more special by using aquafaba and fresh juices. So, and I will explain what aquafaba is if anyone's giving a weird look as to what that is right now. So first we're going to start with fresh grapefruit juice. So, oh, I lied. First, we're going to prep the glass. I tend to mix cocktails and then I forget to prep the glass, and then it just goes a little too fast. So first we're going to prep the glass. I like to do a salted rim. If you don't like to have a salted rim, you can definitely skip this, or if you're watching your salt intake. But it's very easy to do. So you just go ahead. We're going to use a short, we call it like a low ball glass, whatever you want to call it, short glass. Go ahead and just take a piece of lime. It can even be one that you've already squeezed. You just kind of rub the edges of the glass. And then I have a little dish with some salt. You can kind of see here in the other camera. So I just go ahead and kind of dip it in and kind of try and get as much as I can around the edge of the glass. I have coarse salt here, but use whatever kind of salt you want. Don't go buy, 5 million different kinds of salt. And there you go, a salted rim. And again, this is like another little touch that can make your mocktails a little bit more upscale, a little more fancy, feels a little more special to drink it rather than just dumping it in a plain glass. Go ahead and set that aside. And then now we can get to mixing the actual drink. I don't know about you, but I have like 5,000 things in front of me here, so I'm going to clean up for a second. Okay. All right, so we're gonna do fresh grapefruit juice. So you've already peeled off the grapefruit. Now we're going to use the flesh that is inside of this. Use the whole thing. So a grapefruit is best to just do it by hand. Consider this your stress relieving like activity for today. You get to squeeze the grapefruit. So cut it in half. And I think it's easiest to measure it by starting by putting it in just to a large cup or a large measuring cup, whichever is easier. In fact, maybe I think my measuring cup, it's easier. So just squeeze as much of juice as you can. Hopefully you'll get 4 ounces out of it. Oh, I just got it all over me. Be careful when you do that. These are my gym clothes too. I'm supposed to be walking out of the house in these afterwards. Oh dear. So go ahead and just squeeze the life out of that grapefruit. Get as much juice out of it as possible. And maybe you're wondering why we are squeezing all these fresh fruits by hand. Why not just buy a bottle of grapefruit juice? And you can. So the idea here is to make these as healthy as possible. By using fresh fruit, you're not adding excess sugar, which is always a good thing. But also, I think when you're making a drink for just one person, buying a bunch of bottles of all sorts of different juices can seem a little wasteful. So I feel like this is just easier. But of course, if you're going to make these for a few people or you want to have them for the week, you can get a nice bottled like fresh juice that doesn't have added sugar. I think that might be about all I'm going to get out of my grapefruit here. I think I just took like a grapefruit shower, you guys. I'm going to be very sticky now. All right. So once you have some juice, go ahead and measure it out. Hopefully you'll get 4 ounces out of it. And if not, you can juice another one. Usually with one large grapefruit, you'll get about 4 ounces, which I just did.
Are we
And then
going to
add this to your-
grapefruit for anything else, Julie? I'm sorry. Are we going to need grapefruit for anything else?
No, unless you want to use it as a garnish, but by now there's nothing left of it to use as a garnish. It's not very pretty anymore. So go ahead and put your grapefruit juice into your cocktail shaker. And then we're going to do the lime juice. So you need about 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice. And this is where either squeeze the life out of it and get your stress out, or use one of these citrus juicers. It makes life very easy. I don't know if you guys can see this. You just kind of put it
Just
in here.
use these 2 in here. I'm sorry, Julie, what was that last part? What are we doing next? I'm sorry, I was working on doubling my grapefruit juice there.
Oh, yes, you're doing 2. So go ahead and add 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice per drink. And then you can add that to your cocktail shaker as well. And it looks like our syrups should be about done. So for this, you're probably going to need a whole lime. It depends how juicy these limes are. All right. See, you get a little bit of a workout when you squeeze all this stuff. It's good. All right. Into the cocktail shaker. So in your cocktail shaker, you're going to have fresh grapefruit juice, fresh lime juice. And then the easy part, you can add about a teaspoon of agave. So agave is another natural sweetener. You need a lot less of this to get the same amount of sweetness in sugar. It's very potent. So that's why we're just gonna add about a teaspoon. Maybe even less. If you don't like it very, you just put like a couple little squeezes in there. All right, we're gonna pause for a minute and make sure to turn off the heat on your botanical liqueur and your simple syrup. So just turn off the heat. And you're gonna have a nice simple syrup with the rosemary. You can just go ahead, you can either strain it and put it to a glass, but to be honest, I don't really want to waste a glass and I'm just gonna set it aside to cool. So that should be fine. But we do need to strain out the botanical liqueur. So you've got a bunch of peels in there and ginger and the caraway seeds. So the easiest way to strain this out, if you don't have a strainer, is to just use the lid of the pot. So go ahead and just get a glass measuring cup or some sort of cup that you can strain it into. And I will put my little close-up camera here so you can kind of see better. So we've got this. So the easiest way that I found to strain that you don't need to dirty up a bunch of different dishes. Just kind of take the lid and then just barely crack it. So you can strain all of the water that you've now steeped. Basically like making a tea. And if you get caraway seeds in there, it's totally fine. It's not a big deal. Just strain out as much of the liquid as you can. And then this is what you're going to end up with. So this is your botanical liqueur. So this is going to have all the flavor of the grapefruit peel, the lemon peel, the ginger, the rosemary, caraway seeds. And we're going to kind of use this instead of liquor. So in order to let it chill a little bit quicker, let's stick it in the freezer just to let it cool down a little bit. All right. Guys, I'm like still covered in grapefruit. My goodness. Okay. All right. So are you guys ready to get back to our pink Paloma cloud?
Yes.
All right. So we've got grapefruit juice, lime juice, agave to sweeten it up a little bit. And now we're going to add aquafaba, which is a fancy word just for the liquid in a can of chickpeas. Now, that may sound gross to you. It's really not. It's going to add foam. So you know how in some drinks, in some cocktails, they have an egg white? So instead of an egg white, we're going to use aquafaba. It's a heck of a lot easier than trying to do an egg white. You're not eating raw egg, which I think is a bonus. And if it matters to you, it's also vegan, which may or may not. But like I said, it's easier. So I've just cracked open a can of chickpeas or I can't speak, garbanzo beans. And you're just going to strain about an ounce of this liquid and add that to your cocktail shaker as well. So, and if you just like love foam, you can add, you know, a little more than 1 ounce, but I'm just going to do about 1 ounce.
Jillian, do we chill the simple syrup also?
You can if you want. I just left it set aside to cool slightly because you're not going to put that much in the drink.
Okay.
Ideally, if you want to make these ahead of time, you should definitely strain it and chill it. You can keep it in a jar to just add to your drinks later.
Okay.
But I'm saving you an extra glass to wash at the end of this. Yeah. All right. So let me know, are you guys, oh, Susie's already dry shaking. Susie probably already knows. I had to actually Google what dry shake was, to be quite honest. So what we're going to do is a dry shake, which basically means to shake without ice. And this is to get the aquafaba foamy And this is also a part I will warn you. When I first did this, since it doesn't have ice, there's no vacuum seal and it kind of splashes all over the place. So, because I have this kind of a cocktail shaker.
Syrup in there right now, correct?
Yeah, so go ahead and add those ingredients. You're going to dry shake it vigorously. I highly recommend over the sink or with a towel wrapped around it. In fact, I'm going to do that right now. So you're going to vigorously dry shake. So think of this as your workout for the day. Shake as hard as you possibly can for about 20 seconds. The harder you shake, the more foam you will successfully end up with in your glass. And I hope this doesn't get out everywhere. All right. So 20 seconds.
He's making faces as they shake.
This is where the muscles come in handy. So after we do this dry shake, you're going to add ice and you're going to shake it again. This is, like I said, just to kind of get the foam activated in the aquafaba.
I've never heard that word aquafaba.
Aquafaba. So I think it's literally just a Latin translation for water and beans combined.
Yeah.
So that's where that kind of came from. All right, so now that we've done the dry shake, you're going to add ice. You're going to shake it again for another 15, 20-ish seconds, however long. And then we're going to strain it into your glass with some ice. So shake number 2. Do this over the sink.
Strain it. Oops, didn't strain it.
All right, we'll see if we were successful with the foam. So I've got my mocktail here. I'm going to add some ice to the glass that we've already prepared. And here we go. My glass is a little full. So now that you've poured it in your glass, you're going to just top it off with a little bit of seltzer. Mine was a little full, so I just drank it down a little bit. And this will just give it a little extra foam and fizz. And if you like, you can also garnish this with a pretty little lime wedge. If you still have grapefruit, you could garnish it with some pretty grapefruit. That would be nice.
Matt, which one do you?
So here is your pink Paloma cloud. You got a little bit of foam
Cheers.
on top. Cheers. So I'm curious, what do you guys think? I haven't been checking the chat.
Tasty.
Perfect.
Sure, lemon.
Oh yes, that's a good tip, Lauren. Picking the heaviest limes. That's a good tip with fruit in general. The heavier it is, the more juicy it is. You know, when you get a piece of fruit and it's super pithy, it's very disappointing. So that, and then the thinner the skin tends to be a little bit juicier. You get more out of it as well. So that's a good tip when you're picking your fruit. But yeah. So like I said, if you want to make this easier, you can obviously use bottled grapefruit juice. There's some really good brands that have fresh juice that doesn't have a lot of added sugar. I think it's like RW, I don't know how to pronounce it, Knudsen or Santa Cruz. You can get those at the grocery store. That'll make it a lot easier as well. But the fresher the ingredients that you're using in your drinks, the better it is for you. And you're going to get the benefit of all that vitamin C and nutrients. And it'll be a lot tastier as well. All right, So another tip to help with cutting back on drinking. So a lot of times we like to drink because we are trying to unwind and relax at the end of the day, right? And if you can't pour a glass of wine, what else do you do to relax? So if you ask yourself that question, think about what it is that you are looking for. Are you looking for comfort? Are you looking for relaxation? Are you just looking for a moment to yourself? Like, what are you trying to get out of that? Let's just say a glass of wine or whatever your drink of choice is. And what other kind of activity can you do instead of that in order to get that same feeling? So that can be a bubble bath. It can be giving yourself 15 minutes to read. It can be playing with your puppy. It doesn't have to be anything complicated. It was just that we tend to develop these habits and we find that it is a quick fix and it's worked for us. And up to a certain point, it's maybe not working for us anymore and it's working against us. So how can you still get that same feeling of relaxation, but in a little bit healthier way? And another creative idea that one of my clients actually came up with is a CBD mocktail. So you could make up one of these and use like a CBD oil tincture or whatever and add a few drops and see what you think of that. And you'll probably still feel that same sense of relaxation, but you're avoiding alcohol. So would that be something anybody here would be willing to try?
Sure.
I've never tried it myself, but I need to try that. I loved it when she came up with that idea. So, all right, we have one more mocktail. You're gonna have so many things to drink by the end of this. You're not gonna know what to do with yourself. All right. So the last one we're gonna make is the botanical fizz. So this is gonna use the two things that we were just cooking earlier. So obviously in the future, if you want to do this, it's best to do these ahead of time and you can store them in the fridge for at least a week and they should be fine. So go ahead and grab your botanical liqueur from the freezer or wherever you put it. We're still going to shake these up with ice, so it'll be fine if it's not too chilled. All right, clear the decks. So what we're going to do is we're going to juice some more citrus. So go ahead and get your cocktail shaker ready. And you're going to squeeze fresh lime juice and fresh lemon juice. You can do it like before, just juice it into a large cup, measure it out, and then pour it into your cocktail shaker so you get the right amount each time. It's about 1.5 ounces of fresh lime juice and 1.5 ounces of fresh lemon juice. So go ahead and start with that. And I have my lemon from earlier that we were using for the peel. So you can use this. Waste not, want not. Ooh. Just got the legit machine going on over there. We're doing this the manual way. I didn't get out the juicer for this. I'm trying to make this as doable for everyone as possible. You're probably going to need about 2 lemons and limes, give or take. It just depends how big they are and how juicy they are. Maybe 1 lemon. We'll see. All right. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing over here. This. All right. So we've got lemon juice here. I'm going to see how much I have. We got lemon juice, lime juice. Oops, wrong one. Whatever you're doing.
What's my drink?
Actually, wait, that's mine. This is yours.
Oh, how long will these drinks last once prepared? Excuse me. I would say for the ones that have like foam in them, you'll probably want to drink it within the hour. If you wanted to do, oh, sorry, I was just reading the chat. So if you wanted to do these for a group of people though, a good way to do it is to juice everything ahead of time, put it into the pitcher. Like for Paloma, for example, you could do the grapefruit juice, the lime juice, excuse me, and the agave in a pitcher ready to go. And then once you're ready to make the cocktail, you can just put it into the shaker, add the aquafaba and shake it and do it that way. If you wanted to simplify it even more, you could just do the juices and just do, you know, grapefruit juice, the agave, the lime juice and seltzer, and add the seltzer and top off the glasses and do as much of it ahead of time as possible. It's kind of time consuming when you're just doing it all in the moment for one here. But if you get out an electric juicer and you just make a pitcher of it all at once, it'd be super easy. So does that help?
Yes.
All right. I think I need one more lime. Another tip, if you're not getting a lot of juice out of your limes, you can see this in the camera, the close-up one, you can roll it against the cutting board. Kind of helps to get the juices moving in your citrus. And it also helps when things are room temperature. So if you pull things directly out of the fridge, you might find it's a little too firm, nothing's really coming out. You zap it in the microwave for like 30 seconds. Helpful tip. All right. Let's see.
Gail does that with lemons all the time when she's cooking.
Yes.
Pops them in the microwave before she juices them.
I don't
Oh,
do microwave dinners, but that
Really?
microwave is a lifesaver for a lot of things like that. So it's very
So-
handy.
what was the suggestion on microwaving lemons? And it
It's
makes,
just easier to juice them if you microwave the lemons, or if you microwave the citrus just to warm it up a little bit, it'll make it juicier.
what do you think?
30
10
seconds.
30?
Yeah.
20 or 30 seconds.
All right. So once you have your lemon and lime juice ready to go, you're going to pour 2 ounces of your botanical liqueur that we made. Think of this as almost like a substitute for gin. So another helpful tip, there's tons of non-alcoholic alcohol substitutions, I guess you could call them, on the market. They're kind of hit or miss. In my research, I decided not to include any of them just because, like I said, it can be hit or miss, but also, you know, if you're just going to try making one drink and you want to buy a $30 bottle, I didn't really want that to be what we do here. But I think it's great. Like if you want to try a whiskey alternative or a tequila alternative, they have wine alternatives, which I have tried, and I have a bonus recipe for you on the last page to do a non-alcoholic rosé sangria. So that I think is really tasty. But you can just experiment and try some of these other non-alcoholic liqueurs as well. All right, so we got lime juice, lemon juice, botanical liqueur, and then 1.5 ounces of that rosemary honey simple syrup that we made. I'm just going to be lazy and spoon it into my little measuring cup here rather than straining it out, because I don't feel like washing another dish after this. And if you like your drinks to be a little less or more sweet, you can adjust the simple syrup as well. Go ahead and add that to your cocktail shaker. And now we are going to shake it with some ice. Go ahead and fill your cocktail shaker with ice. This is such a fancy cocktail shaker, but my husband bought it for me, but I'm used to the one that has like a tighter lid. This one kind of tends to splash everywhere, but it's cute. And that's what matters, right? So I have to just protect myself here, or else it's going to go everywhere. Go ahead and shake vigorously for 30 seconds. after you've added your ice. I think Susie is a pro over there. She knows what she's doing with that cocktail shaker. Woo, mine's going everywhere. Yeah, highly recommend one with like a tight fitting lid. I'm not enough of a pro bartender to be using this, but. So shaking a drink is really important. Adding ice or melted, ice, aka water. Adding water to your cocktail or mocktail adds, that extra, it thins it out a little bit so that the citrus is not so aggressive and it's not so tart. So that's why it's really important, other than just chilling it, it's important to add a little bit of water into it. So I would say, even if you're making these for a group of people and you want to put them into a pitcher, I usually always add ice and kind of let it melt into it, because if you just do the citrus and you don't shake it, it can be a little overpowering. All right. Whew, that was like a workout, you guys. Especially oh, rock climbing is gonna be rough tonight. Okay. Go ahead and put this into your cocktail shaker, and you're gonna strain it into a tall glass, whatever kind of glass that you have. This is the one that I have. So you're just gonna pour it in. And then top off the glass with a little bit of club soda. This is the fizz aspect of your botanical fizz. And then garnish it with whatever you like. I like to put a little wedge of lemon and of lime. Although I seem to have used all my lemon, so we're gonna do a lime wedge. But whatever you have, just make it a little bit more special for yourself. Oh my God, I really need to. Oh. Lime is having. Gave myself another lime shower here.
Why don't you cheers up? Say cheers. Cheers.
Oh, are we supposed to add anything to it or not? Is that it?
You just add some club soda on the top.
Okay.
But yeah, so one of the, cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
This one you might notice, I like my drinks to be a little bit tart. That's another thing. If you taste these and you're like, wow, this is way too tart, that is kind of just my palate. So pardon if you don't like that. You can add more simple syrup. For the other one, you can add more agave, kind of just adjust it to your liking. But yeah, I like a little bit of tartness to my drinks and not to be overly sugary. So that is personal preference, adjust to your liking.
I really like the taste of the rosemary. You can really taste it in there.
Oh yeah, it's also nice to garnish this one with rosemary as well.
Yeah.
So if you put garnishes in there, you'll also just kind of catch the smell of it as you're drinking it. So you'll kind of get the flavor by smelling it as well. So just engage all of your senses when you're having a cocktail, make it really enjoyable. Mocktail, excuse me. So those are your 3 mocktails. And like I said, there's lots of great non-alcoholic versions of things on the market. So I included a bonus recipe on your recipe card for a rosé sangria that I actually made the other week, and it was super tasty. That's a great one to do for a crowd if you want to share that with friends. That's an easy thing to mix up in a pitcher. But yeah, does anyone have any questions? I'm curious to know, what was your favorite mocktail of the night? Pink Paloma? Pink Paloma?
That's like the one with the salt rim.
Yeah. I like, there's either the pink drink, which is the second one, the mango tropical kind of kombucha was the first one. And the third one is the botanical fizz. But yeah, the botanical fizz has a little bit more of a bitter note to it. It's a little bit different.
I like the botanical number 3.
Huh,
That's my favorite.
good. Look, oh, I
like the Paloma, but the Paloma was really like that was really delicious. I wasn't expecting to like that one as much.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were all delicious.
Good. I love your glass though that you
Mhm.
Yes.
I feel like the glass is another thing that makes it more fun and special. Like treat yourself to having a variety of different glasses instead of using the same one.
Oh, that one's really good too. Each of these was really delicious.
Good. I'm glad you guys like.
Yeah.
Well, I know we're about at time here. I'm so glad you guys joined me for happy hour. And I hope that you learned something new today. You're going to be getting an email tomorrow with the recording so you can see how to make them and also the recipe card if you didn't already download that. So be on the lookout for that. But yeah, again, I'm Jillian. I help people get into a healthier routine with these doable changes to your food. Do it in a really fun way so that it's not like you're giving up anything. It's just looking at what else you can add in to make getting healthier a little bit more fun and enjoyable and not feel like you're depriving yourself, because nobody wants to feel deprived, right?
Exactly.
Or else we're just sitting in that. So
Thank you, Jillian.
Yeah, thanks, Julie.
thank you guys for joining me.
Love
Happy
This was
New Year.
great.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.